Good afternoon, everyone. Shubham this side. I'm from Studio Media, and today I would like to welcome you all for our very first session with our special guest, Mariya Radysh, on the topic "Grind is not the answer." I think there is some technical issue. That's why she got disconnected. Wow. Yeah, we should wait for her. That's yes. Welcome, Maria. Welcome. Welcome to Studio Media.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, things are going fine, and I'm really excited for the first session of this company. So yeah, let's hop into it.
That's great. Do you hear an echo?
Y- No, not yet. It's fine.
So on your side, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. The audio is coming.
Okay.
Okay. So first of all, the Mariya Radysh is a thought leader, keynote and two-time TEDx speaker. So she has a very great mindset, and she basically talk about how to thrive as a human in 2020s. So I'm so excited to start this session. So the first question I'm gonna ask is that what is self-development? Because like everyone has their different definition of self development. So according to you, what how do you define self development is?
First of all, thank you so much for waiting. I really
A
appreciate.
pleasure.
Technical issues do happen.
So yeah, the session got late just because of some technical issues, so I apologize for the inconvenience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. With self-development, such a hot topic, and
Yeah,
it is such a huge umbrella. It encompasses so many things. But if
yeah,
we to narrow it down, I would say it has to do with transformation, with transforming up, with transforming forward. It's about growth, it's about the frequency that you're operating on, and it's becoming better at something, whether it's health wise or whether it's maybe improving a skill like playing guitar or learning a language.
yeah.
And of course, developing your mindset as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, we like in the part of self development, we need to deal with several mental issues on a daily basis, whether it's personally or professionally. So, if we talk about personally, there is always anxiety, some loneliness, and all. And if you talk about the professionally, so there is a work pressure and like deadlines and this and this. There are so many things going on. So, what do you think? How to deal with all those?
So with mental health, there are so many misconceptions that I wish I knew sooner about. And this is what I would like to just tackle first. In particular, when it comes to mental health, we're pressured to believe that this is something kind of a verdict. That is, if we, for example, have a depression or anxiety or ADHD, that it's something that we've stuck for the rest of our life, that
Yeah.
genetics are to blame and we dealt with these cards and we're stuck with those cards and that's it. So that's first misconception that actually when it comes to practically any health issue, in particular mental health issues, actually you can make really drastic changes. Because yes, we all get certain genetic predispositions, but it's up to us whether to pull a trigger.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think it probably has to do with the fact that, patient cured is a customer lost.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the second misconception where it comes to mental health, that if you have some mental issues, if you're feeling distress, if you have illness, then you've got to take medications and you've got to stick to them once again for the rest of your life. So
Exactly.
those meds are usually just to mask symptoms, just to help symptoms. They just band-aid approach. And that's because if you're masking symptoms, you're gonna keep coming back to the doctor. You're gonna keep coming back and buying those meds. Um, you know, with the current health system, doctors that just don't get to the bottom of things. They don't look into what are the root causes of that mental health issue, and they just give you, some meds to ease anxiety or change some hormones in your body to improve depression. And then if you don't take them, you feel even worse because you're already relying on them. So it's a very complicated issue, and it's not dealt properly with
Yeah.
in the modern world, unfortunately. So yeah, mental health issue is not a verdict. It is something that you can improve, and I'm a living proof to that because through most of my life I suffered severe anxiety,
Oh.
like basically 24/7. I was just on the overdrive,
Oh.
and I suffered a few burnouts, and yeah, developed ADHD as well. I mean, who doesn't have ADHD at the moment?
Obviously.
With all the technology that's surrounding us, who doesn't have ADHD?
Seriously, seriously. So,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm like. You growed yourself very well. Like if we see your journey, like how you started until now, it's like a massive, a drastic change of in your life. So how did you, like grow yourself personally as well as professionally? Like it's massive.
sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I'm just asking, like, how did you, grow yourself personally as well as professionally?
What's interesting is that our professional growth depends on our personal growth.
Okay.
You cannot outgrow yourself professionally. You have to tackle your personal growth first, and then professional growth comes with it. So you grow on a personal level, and then you grow in a professional, personal, professional, personal, professional. This is how it goes.
Okay.
And this is also something that we're not taught. We're pressured into thinking that we just need to focus on our career or our business, on professional stuff, and personal things, personal development doesn't have any connection to it. But it's actually the other way around, that you cannot grow professionally unless you grow personally. So I've noticed it through my entire life that before I could get onto the next step in my
Yeah.
professional growth, and I've had quite a few careers as a lawyer, as an interpreter in
Yeah.
sign languages, as a lecturer, and yeah, now I'm doing a lot of research. So I noticed this every time, that in order for me to grow further professionally, I really needed to do some work on a personal level, and in particular to work on my soft skills. And
Yeah.
I really, it really grinds my gears that skills like courage and focus and creativity and decision making, and these are all skills, so it's not a
Yeah.
misconception. We think it's just, whatever it is, either
It
we're
is. It
doing
is.
it or not. Yes, but these are actually skills that, yes, some are born with them more developed than others. So once again, there is like a genetic predisposition that plays role, but once again, it's not something you're stuck with forever. If you lacking courage, you can absolutely develop it. If you're lacking focus, you can absolutely develop it. If you're bad at making decisions, you can absolutely work on it and develop it. So these are not soft skills, these are essential skills. And I would like to highlight that word skills, that all
Skills.
the
Yeah.
skills and they can be developed. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, as you said that, like first we have to grow professionally because it helps us, like to give us some stability, and then personally, then professionally, personally. That's how you said it. So, what are the three most, like what should I say, three important areas for development? Like professionally. If we talk about, like, I just want to know about the professional level, because professionally we have to deal with so many things, like and if I said there are three, what should I say, three behaviors of us, like three faces of us: one with the family, one with the like professional life, and one with the social life. So
Hmm.
if we talk about family, so family and friends, like social, so it comes in a personal level. And if we talk about this professional life, so how to, like, what are the three most important areas you focused on to grow yourself?
Like we've got to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I talk my methodology is to talk about three-legged chair. So, in order
Yeah.
for us to have a fulfilled life, both on a personal level and professional level, we need to build that three-legged chair. And the legs
yeah,
of the chair are health, which
yeah,
is very important, both physical and mental. So this is the
yeah,
most important leg, our health. The second leg are relationships, what you just mentioned, because relationships play a huge role on so many levels. Look, it's like a 3-hour conversation just to explain how relationships actually affect our life. Maybe we
it
can
is, it
bring
is.
that another time, and it's going to be one of the chapters in my upcoming book. And
Yeah,
the third leg is our professional growth, which is our predominantly our soft skills and working
yeah,
on our growth mindset. So when it comes to that third leg, which is professional growth, and once again, everything is intertwined. If we want to grow professionally, we need to make sure that our relationships and our health are at a certain level, that these legs are
hmm,
strong. In particular, because when it comes to connections, if we're talking about friends and our relatives, it really helps us to maintain energy if these are right people in our life and if we
yeah,
have proper depth, deep connections with them. So it's not about the quantity of connections, it's about the quality of those relationships. So of course they support us and it gives us energy and it helps us, to keep growing. And with health, if we lack energy, it doesn't matter how great my goals are. It doesn't matter what my vision is. It doesn't matter how creative I am. If I don't have energy to if I don't have energy to sit down and actually do work, if I don't have
yeah,
energy to even think about certain things, then it's not going to happen.
it
So
is, it is.
once again, I want to highlight that when it comes to professional growth, it's incredibly important to take care of your health, to take care of your relationships first, and then work on your soft skills. So when it comes to actual soft skills, I would say that the skill of courage, or you can call it confidence. So the most known name for that skill is confidence,
Yeah,
self-confidence. Courage slash confidence. I think this is the most important soft skill that we need to have for professional growth. And it's something we can work on. It's something that we can develop. And if you look
mm,
at people who you deem to be influential, successful, they all have that thing in common that they all have courage to try new things. And they don't get scared if something doesn't work out. They don't get scared if they don't know something. Because courage is about knowing that you're going to figure it out.
yes,
So it's
exactly.
not, yeah, our professional growth is not about knowing everything. If we knew everything, we wouldn't have to do anything. So
Yeah,
professional growth is growth, and skill of courage, a skill of confidence, is about understanding. About believing in yourself that if you don't know something, you're going to figure it out. If you need to upskill yourself, you will. If you need to learn something, you will. If you need to find right people, you will. So if you look at the stories of so-called self-made people, no one is self-made, but they just call self people. Because once again, every successful person had so many mentors and supporters, and partners, and so many people surrounding them and helping them to progress on their journey. So that's why I'm saying that no one is self-made. But yeah,
exactly.
when you talk about those self-made influencers and billionaires, millionaires, and so on, whoever you deem to be successful, they all
Yeah,
have that one trait, courage.
yeah,
When they get an idea, they just say to themselves that, hey, I'm going to give it a try. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. I'll try next thing. So whether it's Richard Branson or Elle Macpherson, who's, a very famous Australian photo model, but is
yeah.
also a very successful entrepreneur. This is what she said
Oh,
when she was doing an interview. When I have an idea, just say, hey, let's give it a go. Let's see how it goes.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that.
courage is the most important one for professional growth.
Yeah, and like I have seen so many people around me, and like I have seen this thing in common. Like they are better at their professional life. They have everything they want, but they lack only one thing, which is relationship, and they are very weak in it. And then they are like, and that's just because of this. They radiate a very what should I say, a negative energy, or they just try to feel around people like, yeah, like whatever it is, it's me, and I'm doing it, but somehow they just lag, and this kind, I think that's the thing where it holds us back from growing. So one tip I want to ask, like, how to grow relationship with people, like to make a better relationship with people, like whenever we meet someone, we just like, yeah, it was good, and not to think much, because Of course. You get me, right?
Yeah. We are brainwashed to
Yeah.
think that relationships just magically happen, and it's all about whether you met the right person, whether it's romantically or friendship wise or business wise or as an employee. We're not taught that actually you've got to put effort into every type of relationship that you have, whether it's with
Yeah.
your parents or your children, whether it's an employer or employee, whether it's with your friend or a life partner or whoever you are dating. It always requires effort, continuous effort, not something once in 3 months, giving a gift or
Exactly.
once a year, yeah, giving a gift. No, 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 no. It's something that you put little efforts into building that relationship. And if you're consistent, then that relationship will grow deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And psychologists say that usually takes about 7 years to build a proper relationship. So it does take time and it does take continuous effort. Like I said, not something once in a blue moon, and not
Yeah.
thinking that because you can be absolutely amazing and that person can be absolutely amazing, but if you're not putting effort into being closer, whatever type
Yeah.
of relationship that is just one thing across every relationship. If you're not putting effort, or just one person is putting effort, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Whatever that is,
Exactly.
it's gonna happen.
Yeah. So that's the part of the three lecture, and it was really, really good. Like we can work on it, and so like if the self development thing, like whether like in every field or if you wanna do anything or like something, so it requires self discipline and like willpower to first of all to think that, because we need courage to think big. We need like several things just to get things done. It's not always about motivation. It's I think it's about the self discipline. So how to create these two, the willpower and the self discipline?
That's so interesting. Willpower is not an unlimited resource. And
Okay.
this is what we tend to go to. It's actually not about willpower at all, because
Yeah.
in a day we've got only so much decision making energy, we've got only so much willpower that we're spending. It's like currency that you've got only a certain amount in your day. And of course it depends on whether you slept well, whether you're eating properly, how's your stress level and things like that. And of course,
Yeah.
by the evening, for example, our willpower practically disappears. This is why if we want to eat something unhealthy, we eat it in the
Yeah.
evening. Or we tend to say yes to things. Like if a friend is asking you to help with something, you tend to say yes rather than think about it actually, whether it's something you should be doing. So willpower is not a reliable resource to rely on. It all
Yeah.
comes down to creating habits. You've got to
Okay.
create habits for consistently doing certain things. So in order to do something, you really need to make a decision first what kind of person you need to be in order to get it done, whatever
Yeah,
project you
exactly.
have. And when you think about what kind of person you want to be, this is where you look into what kind of habits do I need to create in order to be that person.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to exercise 15 minutes every day. Maybe I need to read books on certain topics an hour a day. Maybe I need to go for a walk for 10 minutes. Maybe I have to improve my collaboration skills, for example. So you need to just have a thought, okay, that person who wants to achieve that, what kind of habits that person has, and start adding those habits into your life, and they will replace old habits. And this
Yeah.
is the most reliable way to go about it, because willpower is so unreliable. Seriously, it really depends how energized you are on a physical level. So if you didn't sleep well, your willpower is going to be
It's like
yeah, this
yeah.
is going to be it's not going to be the same as in comparison when you actually had a night of good sleep or you
Yeah.
had a nutritious breakfast. Because, for example, with breakfast, If we have protein and vegetables, we're going to have more energy through the day. If we have carbs for breakfast, and the majority of people, they eat like pancakes and cereal, stuff like that, toast. So these are all carbs, a
Yeah.
fruit salad, these are all carbs. So if we have carbs for breakfast, we're actually going to have less energy, read less willpower through the rest of the day. So carbs are better
Yeah.
to leave for the evening. So there's just so many factors that are affecting our willpower. And once again, I want to highlight that this is not an unlimited resource. You get only a particular amount of it through the day. And yeah, you just have to make decisions. What are you investing it into? Like your decision making power, your willpower, what are you investing those things into? And this is why, people wear the same t shirts. So to preserve their decision
That
making,
energy. Oh.
or the decision the night before. So they use that decision making energy, what to wear next day, the night before, so they don't use that energy in the morning when basically the banker starts. So yeah, or people have certain quirks, like tennis players, for example, they have certain habits of tying their shoes in a certain way, or um, stepping with their right foot first into the court, or things like that. And we think, oh, it's
Huh.
weird, but it's not. Actually, by creating habits like that, they conserve their energy. So yeah, going and with willpower, it was really great advice from former Savvy Neil Joko, where he was asked, what do you do when you need to do something, like, for example, to exercise, and you just don't feeling it, like you just don't have willpower? And he gave really great advice. He said, look,
Yeah.
you need to be consistent with what you're doing. And if your plan is realistic, like the tasks that you plan are realistic, you need to complete those tasks. But if your body is telling you that you're tired, that you're exhausted, or whatever, something is wrong, it means that you need to schedule that extra time to recover, to re-energize. But in the moment
Yeah.
when you need to do that task, like go to a gym, you have to power through, you have to go to gym, but just very, very importantly, put it in your schedule, some downtime in order to recover, recharge, whatever, just help yourself to get back to your normal self. So those doable tasks are not feeling like a burden.
Yeah, exactly. So, all the things about the willpower, the self-discipline, the three lecture, and about self-development, personally, professionally. So, this is all the good part. So, I think it may sound a bit weird, but is there any side, like, is there any dark side of this? Like, if we just completely focus on developing ourselves, will like, is there any dark side from your side? Like, what do you think it is?
I think it's all about how you do it. Whatever we're talking about,
Yeah,
whether it's technology, technology can help us to get really great things done and to achieve a lot. But if we're misusing it, it backfires. Yeah.
yeah,
So, for
exactly.
example, in the mornings, I always put YouTube on, and what I usually have, either I'm watching podcast or I have ocean scenery, just as a background. So just watch ocean waves or forest scapes, and I use YouTube to educate myself and to relax. This is what I'm using YouTube for. But someone could be using it for, just with all due respect, to watch cat videos and I don't know, some silly, stupid things
Stand-up
that
comedies, some silly things.
kind of comedies. I often like, especially on
Oh,
weekends,
of
I
course.
often in the
Yeah,
evenings,
yeah.
put on stand-up comedies because we do need to laugh at least for 5 minutes a day.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a really great way to relax and to exercise your brain, actually, because stand-up comedy is something that can be done by a person who's quite intelligent and flexible and creative, and
Yeah.
it's a lot that we can learn from stand-up comedians, because it's not easy to do stand comedy. I know.
Yeah, yeah. I have seen your like stand-up comedies videos, and it was really good. The humor of yours is damn. So, like after that, after hearing that, I think I'm on a right track. because I basically do the things like I just like in the morning I just get up and just go to gym immediately, like after checking phone. So like there are some things. Also, one common behavior I'm noticing about this, about the youngsters. Okay. So it is that whenever there are so many videos, they are like, isolate yourself for 6 months. Okay, work hard on yourself, don't talk to anybody else, don't use your phone much, just go to gym, get physically strong, get mentally strong, study hard, build something. Like, if you don't talk to people for that long, you're gonna be dead, to be honest, because I've been there in that phase. Like if we talk about like since March, okay, since March to this September, I was literally the same one. Okay, and literally I learned my lesson. So I think you cannot live without people. It's just the way to just to please your mind. So we shouldn't be falling in that trap just to like, okay, he's saying that thing. Maybe it's good, but what if it doesn't work for you? Maybe what if it isn't practical for everyone? So how do you, like, just to use your common intelligence to just in the way of self development?
Um, Common intelligence.
Yeah, exactly, because there are so many people are doing it, and even people are happily promoting it. Like, yeah, let's isolate yourself. It's a pandemic is going on, so we have the best reason, but it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think self-isolation is the best way to go because our environment shapes us. If we get ourselves out of that environment and make changes, once we're back to the environment that we ripped ourselves out of, we're gonna start changing back. And it's important to well, look. I know lots of stories when I've taught a lot of international students, and they shared with me that they left their home countries, in particular because they wanted to get themselves out of that environment that was at home,
yeah,
environment that did not support their growth, where people were very negative, that people were dragging them back, not allowing them to go forward. And that's what they did. They left their home and they started traveling the world looking for a place where they thought was that was a good fit for them, and it's great, it's really great, but it wasn't self-isolation, it was changing environments. So it's different
mm,
from when you actually are in the environment and then you leave it and then you come back to it.
exactly.
You're gonna reverse whatever things you were doing, whatever improvements you had, they will start reversing. So it is important to work to design, if you can, an
Yeah,
environment for yourself that's helping you with your growth, personal and professional. And it is about choosing who you want to be friends with. It is about how you allowing your relatives to treat you in particular.
like creating
Um,
boundaries, you mean?
yeah, and it also has to do, by the way, with environment as an environment. For example, I've spent most of my life in Russia, and it's snows for half a year, and it gets down to minus 35, and the sky is always gray.
Yeah.
And once I moved to Australia, which is so sunny, and for me it feels like summer all year round, I've noticed a big change in my behavior and my attitude and my mood and so on and so forth. And the other day I was just watching bees pollinating flowers, and I realized that back in Russia, bees are very aggressive because they have to live in those very harsh
Questions.
environments. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a very
exactly.
harsh weather, and yeah, it's harder for them to collect honey and collect pollen and things like that. So in Russia, for example, bees are very aggressive. But in Australia,
Yeah.
I never got stung once, and I'm careful about it because I'm allergic to bee venom. I'm very
Yeah.
careful about that.
Yeah.
But yes, like I could just be watering flowers and get water on a bee, and it just shakes it off and just flies away. It doesn't attack me. That wouldn't happen in Russia. In Russia, that bee would
Wow.
definitely attack me, even if I'm just passing by. So that's one of the examples. Or, for example, it was a really interesting study about mice. Mice living in fields and mice living in mountains. That mountain mice are more aggressive than mice that live in fields. So it's very interesting that both the actual environment and environment that we create for
Yeah.
ourselves, they both play a huge role on everything, our health and our mood and our growth and things like that. So if it's possible, do change your environment. Don't self-isolate, but do improve your environment. Cut off ties with certain people, become
Yeah.
friends with other people. If a relative is abusing you, have a conversation with them, explain how you should be treated. I know it's
Exactly.
it's difficult in some cultures. It's very difficult to sit down with your family
Yeah.
member, have that
Yeah.
conversation, especially if they're older. But it's something you have to do because what you allow will continue. You've got to remember this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So here comes the last question: is that the whole topic of our session is grind is not the answer. Okay. Why?
Been there, done that. I was grinding for more than 3 decades, and I did
Okay.
achieve certain things. And I do believe that here and there we probably have periods of time that we need to, pull all nighters and
Yeah.
um, be busy, but it should not be a lifestyle. That's absolutely certain. That should not be a lifestyle because through grind you can achieve only certain things, but then you just get stuck. And
Yeah.
in order to go to the next level, you need to stop that grind and think, okay, how can I be less busy? Maybe I can delegate certain things. Maybe I can do certain things differently. And yeah, so through most of my life, I just thought that being busy was the way to succeed. And I did not understand that, yes, it can get you at least to a certain level. I did not
Yeah.
understand that when you keep grinding, you exhaust yourself and you start making simple mistakes that are easily avoidable, like losing your wallet, or you know,
Respects.
yeah. So you just make those
Classes.
mistakes, and they distract you, and they push
Yeah.
you back.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you were rested, you wouldn't make them, whether it's on a personal or professional level. So yeah, you tend to make more mistakes as well. You can avoid them, not make them, if you are properly rested, if you are taking care of yourself. And
Hmm.
also, I want to highlight that grind, being busy, being always on the go, being on all the time. It's actually a form of
Yeah.
procrastination. It's very, very interesting that it's a form of procrastination because
Oh,
if you're constantly busy, you do not take care of your health. You do not take care of your relationships, and you address them only when things get really bad. When you
exactly.
actually falling apart, either mentally or physically or both, or if you are facing a divorce, for example. So if you in the grind, that's a form of procrastination. It's a form of delaying taking care of yourself and taking care of your relationships.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. So at the end, I would like to ask you to recommend some books because yeah, like you recommended me some books earlier as well. So I read it, and I would like to read more, and my audience will love to hear and read those books as well. So if you have any recommendation from now, so yeah, you can tell that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love reading and I read a lot. And there are a lot of books that are not very good, but there are some excellent books. And we were talking about mental health in particular. And I wanted to highlight that where it comes to mental health, it's very important to take care of your sleep. It's
Okay.
very important to take care of your food, what you eat and how you cook it and things like that. And it's so very important to take care of your breathing as well. How we breathe is extremely important
Yeah.
because if our breathing is shallow, we develop anxiety, we develop depression. But if we breathe properly, it's really helping us to be more energized and to be, on top of the game, both physically and mentally. And it's very interesting how food plays a huge, huge, huge role when it comes to our both physical and mental health. So yeah, there's just
Yeah.
a few books that I promised to recommend. So the
Yeah.
first book is
Okay. Eat
it
to the beat.
Eat to Beat Depression and Anxiety
Yeah. Okay.
by Dr. Drew Ramsey. And I must say that I don't follow him on social media because I disagree with him on quite a few things, other things. But this book, It to Be Depression and Anxiety, and it's very easy to order on Amazon and other bookstores, is a very good science. Like he's talking really, he wrote it really well. So I would highly recommend to read that book in particular. Then there's a really good book called Fiber Fueled
Yeah. Mm.
by Will, I hope I pronounced his last name correctly, Bolsievich. And um, he also talks about why food is so important, in particular, why fiber is so important, that it helps our gut bacteria. And it's known that gut bacteria really affects both our physical health and our mental health. Here I want to highlight that he does really great stuff on Instagram, so do follow him on Instagram. It's a really interesting book,
Yeah.
very, very, very good science that he talks about, very easy to read.
Yeah.
And I just want to highlight that he doesn't suggest that you have to become vegan or vegetarian. And
Okay.
I don't, it should be everyone's choice, and we're all very different. So it's different things that work for us. But for the vast majority of us, we do need animal protein. And it's also another very long, interesting conversation for another day.
Yeah.
But at least 50% of what we eat should be vegetables and herbs. So
Yeah.
non-starchy
Sure.
vegetables and herbs, at least 50% of what we eat. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, there's a really good book, Genius Life
Yeah.
by Max Lugavere. I also hope I pronounced your last name correctly, because my last name is always mispronounced. So I'm quite
Yeah.
careful with other people's.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in particular in this book, he also talks about a lot of stuff, and in particular, he recommends for breakfast to make a like a green leafy oily salad, where you put
Yeah.
lots of non-starchy vegetables and you put good quality olive oil. So he talks about ingredients that are really good to go with it, and also to have some protein like fish or chicken for breakfast is really good. So trust me, like when I changed what I was eating for breakfast, I felt such a huge difference, really huge difference.
Yeah.
And it impacts you on so many levels. So in particular, sugar doesn't spike as badly through the rest of the day if you eat vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, and protein for breakfast. Also, it helps you to build your muscles as well. So if you have protein, animal protein, before 10 a.m., that helps you to build and repair your muscles as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things, and of course, it's very important what we eat first thing in the morning for our gut bacteria as well. So
Yeah.
trust me, just by changing that, just by having either salad, or if it's cold, I make soups also with proper stock, bone stock, and lots and lots of vegetables. And it really makes a difference what you have for breakfast. It really helps you to get through the day much more productively. There is also
Yeah.
another
Sure.
book. Sorry, I don't have it. I gave it. The book is called "It's All in Your Mouth." So it's
Yeah.
actually written by a dentist, and it's absolutely brilliant. And once again, he talks so much about importance of foods that we eat, and supplements, and in particular about gut bacteria. Like he explains everything so well. I was just blown away. And I've done a lot of research, and I think that's probably the best book on gut microbiome that I ever read. So it's called "It's All in Your Mouth," and he talks
Yeah.
about how lots of times this is where it starts. Yeah, so if you have any
Sure.
inflammation, and what kind of microbiome you have in your mouth, it all impacts your health, and in particular mental health. So yeah,
Yeah.
those books are really great. If you wanted to read further, I would strongly recommend to get them.
Yeah. So with that note, these are like I'm gonna read it for sure. And with that note, I would like to end this session. So thank you so much, audience, for being there. Thank you so much, Maria, for to be the guest on our first session. So I'm really thankful to have you on our platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Have
Yeah.
a great day.